In the rhythm of modern life, people are increasingly busy and swept up in the cycle of fame, profit, and materialism. We forever run after desires that never cease, only to look back and find our hearts empty, our minds full of anxiety and sorrow. Amidst that bustling flow of life, a reminder echoes: the more simply one lives, the less worrying, less suffering, and less trouble there is, sounding like a door opening a path for the soul to return to serenity. Living simply does not mean giving up everything or denying material life. It only means knowing what is enough, knowing how to cherish simple things, and not binding oneself in endless desires. In reality, much of human suffering stems from expecting too much. We want a luxurious house, a nice car. We want to be praised by others. We want to compete with the world. But once we have it, we fear losing it. If we don't achieve it, we give birth to distress and dissatisfaction. A person who knows how to live simply will feel lighter. They do not run after the habit that having a lot means happiness, but realize that true happiness comes from a peaceful mind, a simple meal with loved ones, a peaceful sleep after a day of honest work, or a smile given at the right time. All are true happiness. In a family, if everyone knows how to live simply without arguing or competing, the home will be warm and peaceful. In society, if each person holds less to their ego, does not show off, and does not jostle for position, relationships will be tighter. The world is inherently full of fluctuations, and the human mind is increasingly complex. Only simplicity helps us keep our hearts tranquil. Look at nature. Flowers bloom and then fade. Rivers flow forever to the sea. The wind blows past without leaving a trace. Everything is simple, natural, yet incredibly beautiful. Humans are the same. When we know how to return to simplicity, the soul will shine. Practicing simple living starts with small things, knowing how to let go of unnecessary things, limiting needs, speaking truthfully, and keeping a sincere heart. Every day, take time to listen to yourself. Take a deep breath and smile at the present. At that moment, we will see life becoming lighter, anxiety lessening, and afflictions gradually dissolving. In short, living simply is not just a way of life, but an art of nourishing the soul. The more simply we live, the less we worry, the less we suffer, and the more we find true peace in every present moment. That is the path back to the peace that everyone constantly longs for. The more simply one lives, the less worrying, less suffering, less trouble. Throughout the human journey, everyone must face the law of impermanence. Human life is inherently short, just a few dozen years. Compared to the vast heavens and earth, it is like a passing breeze. Yet, most of us usually only realize the true value of life when we have passed more than half the road, when health has worn down, when hair is speckled with frost. Only then do we deeply understand that every day we still get to live, still get to breathe, still get to smile is a great blessing. A day to open our eyes and see the dawn, to listen to the birds singing on the porch, to sit at a meal with families, seemingly normal things. Yet they are the great wish of so many people lying on sick, of those who have lost loved ones. Yet when we are still healthy, still young, we easily take it for granted. We think that tomorrow will still be there. Life is still long, the future is still white. Therefore, we keep rushing, hurriedly competing and winning. forgetting that every present moment is the most precious thing. Living simply is knowing how to stop to thank a day that is existing. In the hurried flow of modern society, people seem to no longer have much time to stop. We wait for a certain day to truly live. When we are richer, when we are freer, when we have fewer worries. But strangely enough, life never runs out of busyness, never runs out of worries. If we don't learn to stop right now, tomorrow will also be swept away by new worries. A person who knows how to live simply is one who knows what is enough, knows how to cherish a simple meal full of love, knows how to cherish a kind word, knows how to smile at small things. Simplicity does not mean poverty, but knowing how to filter out unnecessary things so the soul can be leisurely and light. Lessons from impermanence. Many people only realize when they lose a loved one that every shared meal, every moment of conversation is a blessing. Some people, only when hospitalized, realize that breathing evenly and walking steadily is also a miracle. Some people, after going through tribulation, understand that living simply without jealousy, without envy and resentment is truly living happily. A father once shared, "When my daughter was small, I was forever busy worrying about my career, thinking I would make up for it later. But when I looked back, she had grown up and left my arms. There are many things that can be earned back, but my child's childhood cannot." That story reminds us that impermanence waits for no one. Whatever we can do for our loved ones, let's do it today, because tomorrow might be too late. Happiness comes from simplicity. We don't need too many things to be happy. A fulfilling meal, a peaceful sleep, a day without arising evil thoughts is already a blessing greater than thousands of people. Many people, after experiencing ups and downs, realize that the simpler, the less worrying, the less craving, the more peace there is in the family. If everyone knows how to yield, to hold on less to grudges, happiness will last. In society, if we know how to look at each other with eyes of empathy instead of judgment, know how to let go instead of disputing, then predestined relationships will open wide. Simplicity in every thought, every word, every action is the key to keeping life harmonious. Time waits for no one. Time passes silently without resting. It does not slow down for those in love, nor does it stop for those who are suffering. When a day passes, it will never return a second time. There are words not yet spoken, people not yet met, good things not yet done. Therefore, live fully today. Have you ever tried placing your hand on your chest, gently feeling your heartbeat and breath, then silently giving thanks because you are still alive? For a dying person, just a normal breath is a dream. For a person who just escaped death after an accident, just a day without pain is a blessing. For a person who lost a loved one, just a reunion meal is more precious than gold and jade. Living simply to return to oneself. Living simply does not mean giving up everything, but returning to the truth within the inner self. It is when we know how to be content with what we have, know how to love ourselves more, know how to forgive others more, know how to stop when angry, know how to let go when troubled. Every day we are still alive is a gift, whether it is a rainy or sunny day, favorable or adverse circumstances. It is also an opportunity for us to love, to sow good seed. Don't wait until the end of life to learn how to cherish. Don't wait until the body is worn out to know how to love yourself. Conclusion: a human life said to be long is not long said to be short, is not short, but if we know how to live fully each day, then each day will be a blooming flower, a season of dwelling in peace, a solid step on the journey back to oneself. The more simply one lives, the less worrying, less suffering, less trouble, and only then do we truly touch the true peace that we have been searching for all this time. Every day is a blessing. Live so it is worthy. Humans often think that tomorrow is still there, that we will still have time to love, to do over, to correct. But ask yourself, is tomorrow really there? No one knows. No one is sure, nor has anyone signed a contract with life guaranteeing how long they will live. Some people were sitting and chatting just yesterday. Today have gone forever. Some people were healthy in the morning, quietly closed their eyes in the afternoon. Life is impermanent, fragile as mist, as smoke. So if you are still alive today, live so it is worthy. And worthy here is not doing something great, building a massive career, but simply living kindly, living with a whole heart, living consciously. Worthy means not wasting a single moment on fits of anger, on comparing, blaming, or competing. A day to live is one more opportunity to correct mistakes. It is one more occasion for us to love again those we once hurt. It is one more step to walk out of delusions and illusions. It is one more moment to wake up from the drunkenness of fame and profit, from constant sadness, from petty attachments. If we know that every day is a blessing, we will no longer sleep in indifference, nor view life as a matter of course. Live awake in every moment. Instead of rushing to grab the phone to scroll through a series of negative news, we can sit still for a few minutes, close our eyes to listen to our breath, and feel the life flowing in every blood vessel. Instead of frowning when stuck in traffic, when rain makes us late, we can breathe slower and think, at least I can still walk, still have a place to return to. Instead of blaming when a loved one speaks mistakenly or a child is mischievous, we can smile. At least they are still by our side. We can still hear the child's laughter, still see the old mother's figure, still hold the spouse's hand. That is already a great happiness that many people in this world no longer have. Every single day lived is not a natural occurrence, but a priceless blessing, more precious than money. Because money can be made, but time cannot turn back. Health is finite, youth does not last, and life does not have a second time. Therefore, let's live a day as if it were the last. So when it closes, we have no regrets. Leave nothing unfinished. Do not let the heart be heavy with things not yet let go. Don't let afflictions stay too long. If we understand the logic of impermanence, we will not let afflictions cling tightly in our hearts. We will not allow petty matters to dirty the soul, not let anger lead behavior, nor let comparison kill joy. A word of criticism, a look lacking goodwill, a slight collision on the street or just like clouds passing by. Keep it in the heart. You suffer 100 times over. Let it go. We are 1,000 times lighter. Living simply, living slowly, living mindfully, we will hear the gentle sound of happiness already present in life. A day to live is not a right, but a privilege. A privilege for those who know how to cherish, know how to thank, know how to use today to do good for themselves and for others. What seed to sow in the temporary realm? The human world is just a temporary realm. Every day we live in this temporary realm is every day we are sowing a seed into our mind, a seed of peace and joy or a seed of affliction A seed of happiness or a seed of pain is all chosen by us. So choose to sow good seeds, choose to smile instead of scowling, choose to forgive instead of blaming, choose silence before scandal, choose to gently step over stumbles. Live beautifully like a flower. Though life is short, still spread fragrance to leave meaning for people. A day to live is an opportunity for us to love life all over again from the beginning. Where does suffering come from? People in the world suffer mostly not because of true lack, but because the mind does not feel it is enough. The wealthy are insecure because they fear loss. The famous are unhappy because they fear being forgotten. The educated are sad because they think no one has recognized them yet. The poor suffer because they keep looking up at the rich and comparing with themselves. Life is 10,000 types of suffering, but if filtered to the very root, most stem from the mind not knowing what is enough. Someone once asked why there are people with resounding success who are still depressed. Why are there poor people who still sing happily? Why are there people always praised who still feel they are failures? The answer does not lie in material things or fame, but lies in the mind. Is that mind enough or not? Does that mind know how to stop or not, full or empty? If you stand on the mountain peak, but still look up at the high sky, you will see yourself as small and never enough. But if you sit by a small stream knowing how to stop, knowing how to listen, knowing how to drink a sip of water in your heart, you will see yourself as a fulfilled person. Being human, one doesn't need to be right in the eyes of the world, only need to be upright in one's own heart. Doesn't need to win every debate, only need to keep calmness and no regrets. After every dialogue, no need to be higher than anyone, only need to be higher than oneself of yesterday. The root of suffering is that we always want to be more than others, want to be more beautiful, richer, smarter, want to be praised more, noticed more. Then we strain ourselves. We compete only to become tired. For example, in life, there is a father busy working all day, hoping to earn a lot of money to take care of his children. But because he is too engrossed, he has no time to talk with his children. One day, when the children are grown, he realizes the distance is too far, with no opportunity left to make up for it. If he had known to set aside a few minutes each day to listen, to play with his children, then happiness would have existed right in ordinary life. Or there is a woman who frequently complains about her husband, that he is not subtle, not romantic, not like other people's husbands. Only when the husband falls seriously does she realize that simple things like a hot bowl of rice, a word of inquiry, a holding of hands, are exactly happiness, but regrettably, realizing it when it is already late. Lesson for today: we cannot turn back time, nor can we keep someone by our side forever, but we can live fully for today. A day still alive, know how to speak kind words, know how to do good deeds, know how to give. Live so that when tomorrow does not come, our hearts are still peaceful, without regret. Conclusion: human life is impermanent. No one knows if tomorrow will still be. So if still alive today, live so it is worthy. Don't wait until lost to regret. Don't let your heart be heavy with hatred and competition. Live fully every moment. Sow seeds of love, sow seeds of peace. A day to live is a gift more precious than gold and silver. Whoever knows how to cherish, that person has heaven in every moment. Whoever does not know, even if in a golden palace or jade hall, still feels empty. May all of us know how to live mindfully, Know what is enough. Know how to love so that every remaining day in life is a day of peace, lightness, and full of meaning. Knowing enough to be at peace. Letting go to light in the heart. There are people who live their whole lives in comparison. They look around and see everyone as a ruler for happiness and self-worth. Seeing others rich makes their hearts insecure. Seeing others talented makes their hearts dissatisfied. Their whole lives rarely have a moment of serenity because the mind always looks outward, struggling in the mirror reflected by the eyes of the world. Even with plenty in hand, they still live like empty-handed people because inside they always lack. The ancients taught that knowing enough is to be rich. A person who knows enough is not poor. A person who knows to stop is not tired. A person who knows to retreat does not suffer. True wealth is not filled with gold and silver, but is when the mind feels peace, even in a simple meal. Knowing enough so one does not crave, not craving, so one has no afflictions. Knowing enough so one does not compete, not competing, so one has no envy and resentment. And precisely from that, humans gain ease amidst the flow of life full of temptations. Joy comes from maturity in the mind. There is a very special kind of happiness, which is the joy of seeing others happy. There is a very deep kind of peace and joy, which is when the heart no longer wants to surpass anyone. When you look at a successful person without jealousy, when you see someone better than you without resentment, then you are living with a mature inner self. Such people, even without high ambitions, still make others respect them. Even without wearing brocade and satin, they still make others want to be near because they radiate a gentle, pleasant, very peaceful energy. I remember once visiting a small fishing village by the sea. Amidst the bright yellow sunny afternoon, I saw a woman sitting and mending nets. Her house was simple, the furniture not worth much, but the smile on her lips was complete. When I asked if she ever felt disadvantaged, she laughed softly. Having fish to eat is a joy. If not, then water spinach with fish sauce is also delicious. Seeing my children still healthy, my husband returning safely from the sea, that is enough. Those words seem simple, but contained a profound philosophy of life. Knowing enough, she did not compare with the world, and joy also followed that to fill up to the brim. Attitude is more important than position. Being human, what matters is not what position you are in, but what attitude you keep. You can be a janitor sweeping fallen leaves on the sidewalk every day, but if your mind is light, your heart tranquil, then you are living more than the person sitting in a luxury car with a heart full of hatred. No need to race with anyone, just need to walk steadily on one's own path. No need to strain to be perfect in the eyes of the world, just need to live sincerely, kindly, quietly, because ultimately what we need is not the praising or criticizing eyes of the world, but a stable soul so that when closing our eyes at night, there are no lingering entanglements. Knowing enough, everything in life becomes light. We no longer blame, no longer force ourselves into invisible molds. We don't need to prove, don't need to shoulder burdens, don't need to rush. We just live and live deeply, knowing how to let go the art of peace. However, to truly have peace, just knowing enough is not enough. We also need to learn how to let go. Letting go is not abandoning. Letting go is also not failure. Letting go is just stopping clutching what no longer belongs. There are people hugging a grudge from many years ago. Every time they remember, they still tremble with anger. There are people clutching a hurt as if repeating it will make the wound heal better, but actually, it only makes it bleed more. There are people carrying a chest filled with sad memories, regrets, anger, and hatred. And then they wonder why their hearts are so heavy. Actually, life isn't inherently heavy. It's just that we haven't agreed to let go. People have compared life to a train ride. At every stop, there will be people stepping down. There will be people stepping up. Our job is not to cling to or be angry with those who have left, but to continue on our journey. There are relationships where letting go is kindness. There are plans that didn't succeed where letting go is an opportunity to open a new door. I have a friend who once tried hard to cling to a job she no longer loved. She thought if she quit she would fail. But the more she clung, the more exhausted she became. One day she decided to stop, starting again from zero with baking. Now she isn't wealthy, but lives happily. She said, "In the past, I was afraid to let go because I thought letting go meant losing. But actually, letting go is gaining lightness, gaining leisure, gaining oneself. Let go to live freely. Lightness comes after letting go. Leisure comes after stopping the clinging. Freedom is when the heart is no longer entangled. But letting go does not come from the outside. Letting go must come from within. No one can make your heart light if you yourself do not want to. There are people living amidst mountains and forests with no worldly entanglements, yet their minds are full of delusions, still heavy. There are people in the middle of noisy city streets, but because they do not covet, do not resent, do not blame, their hearts are incredibly vast. Letting go does not mean denying. Letting go is accepting. Accepting that life is not perfect. People are not complete, and one's own mind is not always right. Letting go to understand that we do not need to, and also cannot turn everything around. Letting go to lighten oneself first, and then from that lightness, live deeper, clearer, more peacefully. Keep a mind that knows enough. Practice a heart that knows how to let go. Live amidst an era of jostling. Whoever keeps a mind that knows enough, that person is a person of wisdom. Living amidst a competitive society. Whoever does not care about winning or losing, that person is a person of blessings. Who knows, perhaps that very simplicity is the reason life silently protects them, causing blessings to gradually bear fruit. There are burdens not lying on the shoulders, but lying in the heart. There is fatigue not caused by walking far, but by carrying too many unnecessary things. There is suffering not created by circumstances, but because the mind refuses to let go. Knowing enough so as not to crave, knowing how to let go so as not to be entangled. Those two things are like two wings helping us fly over heavy days to find the sky of peace. Conclusion: life is inherently short. We cannot know how much of tomorrow remains. But if today we learn to know what is enough and to let go, every moment lived will be a complete gift. A happy person is not the one who has the most, but the one who feels enough with what they have. A free person is not one who is not bound, but one who knows how to let go of what is no longer suitable, knowing enough to be at peace, letting go to lighten the heart, and thus we live a life needing no proof, no competition, just quietly kind, complete. That is already happiness. Let go to be light to live. Sometimes in life, we just need to sit down, take a deep breath, then whisper to ourselves, that matter is over. Let's let it go. Just that much is enough to soothe the heart. Sometimes being silent before a criticism, stepping back from an argument, is not because we are weak, but because we don't want to bring more toxins into the mind. That is also a way of letting go. Sometimes accepting that it's not necessary to win, not necessary to explain, not necessary to compete, is also letting go. And then we will realize when we let go of one thing, we lose nothing. Instead, we regain freedom. The most precious freedom is freedom from things that make us suffer, from the control of the past, from the manipulation of anger, from ceaseless cravings that make the heart tired. Let go to be light to live to see that life is actually much simpler than we think. When the mind is light, going anywhere is leisurely. When the heart is light, doing anything feels enough. At that time, the smile will return, the breath will be deeper, the eyes will be gentle, the steps will be leisurely. We will understand that letting go is not losing, letting go is returning to oneself without worrying, without heavy burdens, without entanglement, without haste, returning to a life that is inherently full, only needing us to learn to look with new eyes and a calm mind. Letting go does not mean being heartless. Among all the difficult virtues to practice amidst a life of many upheavals, perhaps keeping a light heart, a kind word, a benevolent smile, is the most precious thing. Keeping the heart light is not being heartless, but not embracing things that don't need keeping. Keeping the mouth safe is not passive silence, but not uttering words that cause hurt. Keeping the body smiling is not to hide suffering, but to learn to rise above it with a clear and open consciousness. There is a story in the Zen gate saying, once there was a young novice monk, very intelligent, hard-working in studies, but hot-tempered. Whenever anyone said something against his will, he got angry, argued, even uttered heavy words. Seeing that, the teacher gave him a bag of mustard seeds and instructed, every time you get angry, take a seed and drop it on the ground. He followed. At first, only a few days. The number of seeds falling was not many, but then the more he lived, the more he contacted, the more he collided, the more seeds fell, until one day he looked back. The bag of seeds was nearly empty. The teacher smiled and said, "Do you see? Each mustard seed falling is a time you sow a seed of anger into life. You may not remember what you said in anger, but others will remember. The wound in their hearts sometimes follows a whole lifetime. Words seem light, but carry more weight than axes. A word lacking control can leave a scar never erased. Conversely, a gentle word, a sentence of patience can save a whole relationship, a family, even a life." The story is simple but full of behavioral wisdom. It reminds us that letting go is not just the act of throwing away, but keeping ourselves from sowing more toxic seeds. When angry, practice letting go. The Buddha taught whoever lives a life without negligence, with a peaceful mind, gentle words, clear righteous actions, that person radiates the fragrance of virtue. A person with a peaceful mind, gentle words, good deeds radiates fragrance by themselves. No need to show off, no need to dispute right and wrong. A middle-aged man once shared after a family incident. He was the pillar, making money to take care of his wife and children fully. But the more he worked, the more stressed, pressured, and easily hot-tempered he became. Just a small mistake by his child, like dropping a rice bowl, he would shout. Just a word not pleasing from his wife, he would snap. The family lived in tension, like walking on a wire before his anger. until one day, when his mother was hospitalized, his daughter did not dare to come close, only stood outside the door whispering, "Dad, I'm afraid you will scold me." That sentence was like a knife cutting into his heart. He realized that he might be capable in society, but in the family, he was the person everyone feared most. From that day, he practiced letting go. Every time he wanted to snap, he breathed deeply. Every time he wanted to blame, he chose gentler words. He no longer shouted, but learned to listen. It wasn't easy, but gradually the family changed. His daughter hugged him when sleeping, his wife smiled more, and his mother, before closing her eyes, held his hand and whispered, "You have changed. I am very happy." That is the fruit of letting go of anger. Letting go here is not being inferior, but conquering oneself. Letting go to see life as full. Someone asked, if we let go of everything, what is left to live for? But the truth is, when we let go, we lose nothing. We only return the inherent lightness to the mind. Let go not to be tormented by things past. Let go not to suffer because of things not yet come. Let go to return to the present, the only place with real life. An old lady living in the countryside once said, "I had nothing, just a small garden, a few chickens, yet I feel enough." Every day still healthy to go to the garden, still sitting to eat with children and grandchildren is already happiness. Simple as that, but it is a big lesson. Happiness lies not in how much we have, but in how much we know how to cherish. A person who knows how to let go of unnecessary desires has a leisurely mind and a free life. A person who keeps hugging ambition and competition, even with much wealth, never feels enough. Keeping the mouth, keeping the heart, keeping the body in life. 3 precious things to block bad karma are keeping the mouth, keeping the heart, keeping the body. Anger rising without letting it spill out into words is already a great blessing. Anger coming without pouring it onto others is already great cultivation. Disappointment passing by yet still keeping a smile. That is a realm not everyone achieves. A person who keeps a smile amidst adversity is not because of insensitivity, but because they know that anger solves nothing. Conversely, only love, patience, and a tolerant view open the way for peace. Conclusion: letting go is not losing. Letting go is regaining freedom. Freedom from the past, from anger, from cravings that make the heart tired. When we know how to let go, the mind will be light. When the mind is light, life will be peaceful. Try letting go a little each day. Let go of a word of competition. Let go of a harsh look. Let go of an excessive craving, and then you will see the smile return, the eyes gentler, the steps more leisurely. Let go to be light, delight to live. Live to see that life is inherently full, just waiting for us to open our hearts to realize. Living simply, keeping the heart light, mouth safe, body smiling. Life inherently has many storms. We often imagine that snapping and blaming can help solve problems, but the truth is the more hot-tempered, the deeper we cause hurt. Snapping does not lighten the heart. Blaming does not heal wounds. Only compassion can dissolve hatred. Only patience can keep a home, and only a gentle heart, a kind smile, a peaceful word can make the life around us less suffering. Keeping the heart light, reducing cravings, reducing right and wrong. Keeping the heart light does not mean abandoning responsibility, but learning to put aside unnecessary things. We often make ourselves suffer by holding too many expectations. wanting others to understand us, wanting life to go our way, wanting events to happen as we planned. But life rarely indulges anyone's will. The more we expect, the easier we are disappointed. Keeping the heart light is knowing to let go a bit, holding less to right and wrong, clinging less to gain and loss. When someone makes a mistake, we don't rush to blame. When things don't go as wished, we aren't bothered. A person who knows how to keep their heart light is like a boat dropping excess weight. Thanks to that, it can drift smoothly amidst a stream of life full of whirlpools. Keeping the mouth safe, speaking good words, necessary words, nourishing words. The mouth is the gateway of the mind. A sentence can heal or separate. A person skillful in keeping speech karma always speaks good words at the right time, bringing benefit. Not sweet words to please, but sincere words to nourish. In a family, just a word of praise is enough to warm a loved one's heart. At work, a word of encouragement can uplift colleagues' spirits. Conversely, harsh words, criticism amidst a crowd can make others hurt for a lifetime. There is a story told. A little girl was frequently scolded by parents for not studying well. Gradually, she became complex-ridden, not daring to share anything with family. Until one day, her mother changed the way of speaking. Instead of blaming, she was gentle. Mom knows you tried just a little more, you will do better. Since then, the little girl gradually became confident and progressed. A peaceful word has power like sunlight warming the cold winter, keeping the body smiling. An attitude of gratitude. A sincere smile not only makes others comfortable, but also reminds ourselves of gratitude. Grateful because we can still breathe this breath. Grateful because we still have a roof to return to, still have loved ones to love. Grateful because we still have the opportunity to live worthily of a human life. No one forces us to be gentle, but if we are gentle, life naturally softens. No one forces us to endure, but if we endure, the mind will be steadier. No one forces us to smile, but if we smile, the person next to us will also feel lighter. Keeping the heart light, mouth safe, body smiling, not to prove virtue, but to save ourselves amidst a life of many storms. Living simply, a profound practice. Zen masters once taught living simply is a high realm of an awakened person. There are things seemingly ordinary, but if looked at with eyes of wisdom, they become deep practice. Living simply is not because of poverty, but because of seeing enough. Eating simply is not because of lack of conditions, but because of choosing good things for body and mind. Thinking simply is not because of lack of understanding, but because of clearly understanding that many thoughts are just vines binding oneself. Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh once said, "If you have the ability to eat rice in mindfulness, walk in mindfulness, breathe in mindfulness, then you are already living like a happy person. When we are truly happy, we no longer want to possess too much. The essence of simple life is just like that. Not reducing anything necessary, only reducing things that are superfluous." Lesson from a young Zen student. There was a young Zen student going up the mountain to learn the way, bringing many items, beautiful clothes, a recorder, books, and dried food reserves. The teacher just smiled slightly. 3 months later, he himself carried down the mountain almost everything he brought. He confessed, "I am tired because of keeping too many things, tired of fearing things lost, fearing books damaged, fearing everything not enough. I have no mind left to learn the way, the gentle teacher reply, cultivation is not adding but removing until in the mind there remains only silence, and precisely in that silence the seed of wisdom sprouts. That saying seems simple, but is a lifelong lesson for those still running after the swirl of accumulation and possession. Actually, we don't need to go up a mountain to cultivate. Right amidst the noisy city streets, we can still live simply with a simple mind. Simplicity in thought, simplicity in the mind is not complicating problems. Knowing what should be remembered, what should be forgotten, knowing to choose what is worth keeping, what needs letting go. Living simply is when a plain meal still warms our hearts. It is when a sincere conversation, not showy, brings trust. It is when a day passes without confusion, without argument, without waste, enough for us to smile before sleeping. Once someone asked a Zen master, "How can I suffer less amidst a busy life?" He replied, "Want a little less, prove less, possess less, judge less, view yourself less as the center, reduce each thing a little, suffering will dissolve like early mist." Indeed, simplicity is not a low realm, but a high level of an experienced person. When we are full inside, we don't need much to decorate the outside. When we understand the value of a minute of peace, you will not trade it just for a few minutes of winning or losing, showing off or competing. The farmer and the lesson on fullness. There was a farmer living in a small village. Every day he ate vegetable rice, worked the fields, raised chickens, took care of his sick wife. When asked why he was always happy despite such a simple life, he smiled. "Because I don't need anything more than what I have," a rustic answer, but a philosophy of life that many in modern cities have lost. People can have high houses, nice cars, positions, but their hearts are still insecure. Eyes don't sleep well, hearts aren't happy, because the more one has, the more one must keep. The more one keeps, the more one fears losing. The more fear of losing, the more insecurity. Living simply is when we dare to discard, when we admit that whatever makes us tired should be let go, when we no longer run after temporary emotions. Not entangled in praise or criticism, not lost in the swirl of shopping and hoarding just to impress others. Return to the primal. Simplicity is returning to the primal nature of a child. Eating when hungry, sleeping when tired, crying then stopping, angry then forgetting. No calculation, no plotting, no complicating everything. In that primal state, we find ourselves again, a clear soul not covered by worldly dust, and only then can we touch true happiness. Conclusion: life is inherently short. Living simply is not lack but fullness. Keeping the heart light to reduce cravings, keeping the mouth safe to sow good words, keeping the body smiling to spread gratitude. Living simply so the mind is not entangled, the heart is not heavy, life does not add suffering. May each of us amidst a life of many fluctuations be able to learn to reduce a little, reduce attachment, reduce anger, reduce greed, reduce competition. Every day reduce a little. We will be lighter a little. At some point, suffering will dissolve like morning mist, and we will smile seeing that. Turns out happiness is never far away, but right in a simple, quiet, and serene life. Living simply to open the heart wide, letting go to be at peace. A simple life does not make us smaller. On the contrary, it is simplicity that opens a vast sky in the soul. When living simply, we have more time to love. When simple, we have more space to breathe. And also when simple, we can live a day fully, not dragged by noises, not bound by things not worth it. Living simply from small things. Try starting right today. Reduce one unnecessary argument. Reduce one item bought just to fill a void. Reduce one complaint when it rains or when the street is crowded. Reduce a bit of jealousy when seeing someone succeed. And instead, add a minute of sitting still, add a kind sentence, add a gentle hug for a loved one, add a smile for a passerby. Simple as that, but it is living deeply. Simple as that, but not superficial. Simple as that, but carrying meaning, like a person who has passed half a life and understands that the thing most worth keeping is not material, but peace in every breath. I remember once returning to the countryside, seeing an old person sitting in front of the porch with a hot pot of tea and a few simple cakes. He didn't have many assets, but when asked if he found life full, he just smiled. Any day I can still drink a sip of tea, still see sunlight shining on the porch, still hear the chirping of children and grandchildren. That day is enough. That sufficiency comes from a soul that is already simple, already knows how to dwell in every moment. Live as if today is the last day. Simplicity is also living as if today is the last day. Not to be afraid, but to love more. Not to rush, but to stop more. Not to hurry to do great things, but to cherish every small thing in the palm of the hand. A hot meal every day is a blessing. A ray of sunlight shining through the window is a predestined bond. A loved one still there for us to call by name is good karma. And the very fact that we still breathe, still are awake to hear, to feel is already a luck not everyone has. Living serenely does not mean finding a place without storms. Living serenely is keeping the heart calm amidst storms. Not raising a tempest, no need to compete, no need to prove, no need to show off, just need a grateful smile, a heart without resentment, a soul knowing to put down things no longer needed to carry. Luggage at the end of life is not assets. Ultimately, the luggage we can carry is not fame, status, or assets, but warm memories, things lived fully with love. Moments we do not regret, a life not wasted. Don't ask how much life gives you. Ask how you have lived with what you have. Don't wait until a life of leisure to learn to live slowly. Practice living slowly right in busy days, because sometimes a day lived sufficiently awake, sufficiently gentle, sufficiently grateful is already a complete human life. I once met a female doctor, every day revolving in the hospital with stressful work, but every night she always kept the habit of sitting still for 10 minutes just to listen to her breath. She said amidst the hurried wheel, those 10 minutes are where she returns. She lives slower and thanks to that does not feel exhausted. Indeed, living slow doesn't need to go far but starts right amidst daily messes. The suffering when not knowing how to let go. But a simple life will not be enough if our hearts do not learn to let go. There are things the tighter we hold, the more painful. A careless word can be like a knife cutting into memory. A person has left, but the silhouette still lingers in the mind. An unfinished dream once lighting up youth now turns into a dull sadness. A beautiful expectation placed on someone, until today still smolderingly frustrating. There are people taking 10 years to keep a grudge. There are people carrying a nameless nostalgia all their lives. There are people every day reliving a memory that no longer has a place in the present. The more kept, the heavier the heart. The more attached, the more tired the steps. And at some point, they ask themselves if they live for the present or are just living in the shadow of the past. Letting go is the starting point of liberation. Many people only when having passed half a life understand the two words let go. Some have to pay the price with sleepless nights, with constant torment to learn how to breathe a truly light breath. But there are also people, thanks to awakening, thanks to experience, who soon choose to live simply, know enough, know how to let go. Letting go is not indifference, nor is it running away. Letting go is an act full of awakening. It is when we stop amidst the wind of life, look deep into ourselves, and ask if what we are holding is really needed anymore. Let go not because of weakness, but because of being strong enough to know what cannot be salvaged. Let go not because of running out of love, but because of understanding that holding on tightly only harms both sides. A handful of rocks cannot pick up more flowers. A heart still full of toxins cannot receive light. A mind cluttered with sorrow has no room for serenity. Only when we put the burden down does the shoulder feel light. Only when we let go of the hand does the hand have room to grasp new, gentler things. Understand to let go. Letting go does not come from coercion. It comes from understanding. When understanding that impermanence is a law, we no longer seek to nail everything to eternity. When understanding that humans change every moment, we no longer blame someone for being different from before. When understanding that every affinity has a term, we will suffer less. When something must end, as long as there is attachment, there is suffering. Attachment is the root of affliction. Letting go is the starting point of liberation. I remember an older brother once confided, "When young, I held many resentments in my heart. But the older I get, the more I realize what I held tight turned out to be unimportant." When I practiced letting go, I truly felt my heart light and knew how to live for the present. Conclusion, simplicity, and letting go, two wings of peace. Living simply to open the heart wide. Letting go to lighten the soul. Those two seemingly small things are the door leading to peace. Amidst a noisy society, whoever keeps a simple mind, that person has wisdom. Amidst a life of much competition, whoever knows how to let go, that person has blessings. And who knows, perhaps that simplicity, humility, non-showiness is the reason life silently protects, causing blessings to bear fruit over the years. Finally, happiness does not lie in how much we possess, but in seeing enough with what we have. Freedom lies not in having no bindings, but in daring to let go of things no longer needing keeping. Practice living simply to open the heart wide. Learn to let go to lighten the soul. And thus we will go through a life not showy, not wasted, but complete and peaceful. Letting go the journey back to freedom. Sometimes in life, the hardest thing to let go of is not a person, but the stories we repeat in our own hearts. That could be an uncooled anger, a careless word, a broken relationship, or an unfulfilled dream. We keep hugging it like hugging a hot coal, hoping someone else gets burned. Ultimately, the one hurting most is us. Letting go is not giving up. Even less is it being heartless. Letting go is shedding burden. Letting go is not forgetting, but not letting the past dominate the present. Letting go does not mean turning one's back, but turning inward to recognize where is the root of suffering. Where is the true exit? Letting go is also not a momentary decision, but a journey. Every day, little, every time a bit, step by step, walking lighter on the path of awakening, until one day, when no longer resentful, no longer tormented, no longer blaming, we will suddenly understand. Not because we let go that life becomes light, but because life is inherently light. It's just that we held too tight. The tighter kept, the more suffering. In life, there are things we think if we try to hold really tight, we won't lose. But the tighter we squeeze the hand, the deeper we fall into suffering. Keeping a person who no longer wants to stay is no different than holding a rope pulling backward toward the abyss. Keeping an anger accumulated for many years is like hugging a burning hot coal. Keeping a dream that has expired is no different than trying to make a flower bloom on a dry branch. It all only makes us tired, not because life is too cruel, but because we are not brave enough to let go. There are people hugging a careless word of a loved one forever, then letting the sulking distance drag on for 10 years. There are people keeping an unfulfilled promise, taking it as an excuse to blame life, resent people. There are people keeping the image of someone who has gone far, then tormenting themselves, blaming themselves, burying themselves in days without exit. Actually, nothing outside can make us suffer forever. Only when we allow it to stay in the mind does it have a place to cling. The more kept, the more suffering, the more resentment, the more lost direction. The habit of carrying heaviness. There are people carrying burdens in their hearts so long they forget how light they used to be. They think heaviness is normal, but actually, that is just the habit of a heart not yet knowing how to let go. The greatest suffering in life is not having no one to love, no success or no assets. The deepest suffering is not being able to let go of things that should be let go. There are things only beautiful when kept in memory. There are people who should only be thanked and then moved on. There are stories needing no explanation of right or wrong, just needing peace to leave. Not every story needs a conclusion. Not everything has a final answer. Not everyone has enough affinity to go to the very end with us. Knowing this, the heart will be lighter. Let go to live fully with the present. Sadness does not mean forgetting, but ceasing to let the past dominate the present. Not letting a small past matter cast a shadow over a whole life. Only when daring to leave what is no longer suitable do we open the door to receive new and more worthy things. Many people fear letting go because they think they will lose. But if looking closely, the more kept, the more we lose. Lose peace, lose the ability to live fully with the present. Lose the opportunity to love worthy people, lose precious time for truly meaningful things. One hand hugging the past too tight. What does the other hand have to receive tomorrow? Letting go is not just an act of leaving, but a shift in the inner self. It is when we realize that no one can save us from suffering but ourselves. No one forces us to carry that burden but our own choice. Stories of letting go. There was a woman once betrayed in marriage. She hugged that pain for 10 years, daring not open her heart, daring not trust anyone, every day repeating in her head, if that day he hadn't changed his heart. But the more she repeated, the more she suffered. One day, in a sharing session, she heard a sentence, "Letting go is not to forget the past, but so the past stops mastering your present." That sentence made her burst into tears. She began practicing writing down the pain, then folding it, burning it, bit by bit. She felt her heart lighter. Finally, she could smile at herself and open the door of her heart for a new friendship, or like a father once shared. For many years, he resented himself for a business failure, dragging the whole family into difficulty. He lived in complex self-blame, not giving himself the right to be happy, until one day, His small son looked at him and said, "Dad, I don't need you rich. I just need you to smile." That innocent sentence made him break down. He realized what he needed to let go of was not failure, but the torment of himself. When letting go, he saw the family never blamed him, only needed him present with love. Let go to return. Letting go is returning to deeper breath, returning to a gentle smile, returning to leisurely steps. Let go to realize life is inherently simple. Let go to clearly see we don't need to shoulder so much. When we dare to let go, we will see what seemed like loss is actually gain. Gain peace, gain freedom, gain living fully with this moment. Conclusion. In the journey of living, perhaps the hardest, but also most precious lesson is learning to let go. Let go of resentment. Let go blame. Let go of unnecessary expectations. Let go not to be bound by the past, not to be haunted by the future, but to live fully in the present. Letting go is not losing. Letting go is returning to oneself, returning to a heart wide enough to love without binding, returning to a mind steady enough to be serene amidst a fluctuating world. And one day we will smile and realize what seemed like leaving is actually returning. What seemed like losing is actually gaining. The art of letting go, gentle returning to elegance within oneself. Life is not always calm as we hope. Everyone among us has at least once felt tired amidst the ceaseless wheel of work, feelings, responsibilities, and expectations. We keep running, keep trying, keep straining ourselves to achieve something, to prove to someone, not to be left behind. Then sometimes looking back, we see ourselves full of wounds, hearts heavy, and sometimes no longer know what we truly need. In such times, the word let go appears like a door opening to light. Let go is just a single word, but hides a whole journey of practice. Letting go is not losing. Many people fear the word let go. They think letting go is abandonment, is losing out, is no longer caring about life. But letting go is not discarding all, but choosing to keep what is truly necessary. There are people living amidst surplus material, surrounded by enough friends and relatives, yet their hearts are empty. There are people praised endlessly, but at night are still lonely. Why? Because they haven't known how to let go. They keep struggling to gather more money, more fame, more praise, more relationships, hoping to fill the void in the heart. But the more added, the more they feel lacking. A cup can only hold water, and inside it there is empty space. Likewise, a heart can only be peaceful and happy when it is not stuffed with unnecessary things. Letting go is essentially creating space for peace to enter. People suffer not because of lack, but because of wanting too much. People in the world suffer not because of not having, but because of not being pleased. Having a small house is happiness, but we want a high house, wide door. Having a stable job is peace, but we want high position, great power. Then pressure surrounds. Having a loving spouse is precious, but we compare with others to then hurt each other. Letting go is when we stop that race. It is when we cease comparing ourselves with anyone, cease tormenting because of what hasn't been achieved. It is when we look back and realize what we have is sometimes exactly what others dream of a whole life. Knowing enough wisdom of letting go. Knowing enough is not self-consolation, but a kind of wisdom. It is understanding that if not letting go of some, we will never feel enough. One who keeps running after winning and losing, right and wrong, will see life as a battle without end, but one who knows to stop, knows to smile, knows to lightly let go of expectations and pressures self-imposed will see life as not as heavy as thought. Letting go is not stepping back but moving forward with lighter luggage, not carrying a suitcase full of anger, resentment, hurt, so the next journey can be leisurely and relieved. Letting go lovingly. Sometimes letting go is a way of loving oneself enough not to force oneself to try more when overwhelmed, loving others enough not to claim when they want to leave, loving life enough not to force it to follow one's will bit by bit. There was a sister working as a small trader. For years she strained herself to keep a shop, though profit wasn't much, though health weakened day by day. She said she dared not think of quitting, fearing people would say she failed, until getting seriously ill and hospitalized, she shed tears. If only I knew to let go sooner, I would have had more time with my family. Sometimes letting go is choosing to rest, to save strength for the long road instead of trying in vain. Letting go of the past, opening the door for the present. Many people think letting go is an external matter. Letting go of a relationship no longer suitable. Letting go of a job too overwhelming. Letting go of a person who no longer loves us. But actually, the hardest thing to let go lies inside. There are people who left long ago, but we still think of them every day. There are passing words, but we hug them in the heart for 10 years. There are memories just past, but we keep replaying in the mind like an old film. Not because that matter is too big, but because we refuse to let go. A criticism in the past can haunt us a lifetime. We live in that obsession, trying to prove we are good, we are worthy, but the more we strain, the further we drift from ourselves. Letting go sometimes is simply stopping running after others' recognition and accepting oneself with a peaceful heart. For example, in life, there was a young man once abandoned by an ex-lover. For many years he could not love anyone because he kept hugging the old image. He thought holding tight to that memory was loyalty, but actually it was imprisoning himself in a dark room. Only when he agreed to let go, agreed to open his heart, did he see outside that room was a whole wide sky. Or like a friend, every time coming home late from work often complained, wishing to have another job, higher salary, more comfortable hours. But when asked if changing jobs, "Are you sure you will be happier?" that friend was silent, because the truth is work is not the main cause, but the mind not yet knowing contentment. If not letting go of some cravings, then wherever we are we feel suffering. Practice letting go every day. Letting go is not a big matter. That can start from small things every day. Let go of a word intended to say when angry. Let go of a comparing thought when seeing someone better than oneself. Let go of a judgment when others don't do as one wishes. Let go of a bit of time surfing the net to sit back and breathe deeply. Whenever we know how to let go of a small thing, our heart lightens a bit, like putting a burden down from the shoulder. We see we can go further. When is it enough to let go? Each person has only one heart. Don't let it be filled by things not making us peaceful. Each day has only 24 hours. Don't let too much time pass in regret or resentment. Each road segment is walked only once. Don't let it be covered with suffering just because we refuse to let go. Sometimes the only thing we need to do is take a deep breath, smile, and remind ourselves, enough, just light, let go a bit, Just that little bit is enough to change a whole day. Conclusion: letting go is not loss but a return. Returning to a more elegant version of oneself. Returning to the present, no longer pulled back by darkness. Returning to a life where every footstep is light as a cloud. Let go to see that happiness does not lie in what we gather, but in the leisure of the soul. Let go to realize the most precious thing is not getting much, but enough to be happy. May each of us, amidst the flow of life full of fluctuations, learn the art of letting go of cravings, letting go of comparison, letting go of the past, so then every day we can walk gently, smile peacefully, and see that turns out happiness is never far from us, but always in every breath, every present moment. Letting go lightly to be at peace. There are people who all their lives cannot let go of a failure. They keep tormented. If back then I decided differently, perhaps things would have been better. So they blame themselves, torment themselves, not giving themselves a chance to start again. But the past is something unfixable. Only the present is where we can change. Letting go is not denying mistakes, but not letting that mistake keep pulling oneself down. Keeping hatred as fire burning oneself. Someone cannot let go of a grudge. They hug it like a fire burning smolderingly in the heart, thinking they are keeping the fire waiting for the day to retaliate. But actually they themselves are the ones burned first. There are angers we let go not because the other person deserves forgiveness, but because we deserve peace. The human mind is like a garden. If not willing to weed, then even if planting beautiful flowers, flowers cannot bloom fully. Resentments, self-blames, excessive cravings, all are weeds in the mind. Each time letting go a bit is a time allowing the heart's flower to bloom one more blossom. Letting go is not forgetting, but choosing a different way to live. Letting go does not mean erasing what has happened. Letting go is choosing a way to live, not letting them hurt us anymore, no longer living in the past. No longer obsessed by the future, also no longer trying to control what inherently cannot be grasped. Letting go is not evading emotions, but not letting emotions lead us forever. When sad, just be sad. When in pain, just cry. But then must wipe tears, stand up and continue living. Don't because of a torn page throw away the whole storybook. Don't because of a sad chapter stop writing the rest of one's life. Light mind, then light life. Mind letting go, then steps leisurely. Mind no longer carrying the past, then eyes can see the beauty of the present. Sometimes the person needing to be let go most is not anyone else, but us of yesterday. So today we get to live a truly complete day. Learn to be at peace in incomplete things. Life is inherently never perfect. There are things we try however much still don't go as wished. There are people we treat with all our heart ultimately still leave. There are things even exhausted we cannot hold back. The important thing is not making everything perfect, but learning to be at peace in incomplete things. Relaxing is not giving up. Relaxing is when we have done our best and leave the rest to follow destiny. It is when we understand that the more trying to control, the more losing freedom. It is when we don't need everything to go our way to be happy. I once met a farmer growing rice. That year a storm caused the loss of almost the whole crop. I asked if he was sad. He smiled. Sad, of course. But being sad forever won't make rice grow back. Better sow another crop. Maybe get a harvest. That relaxing is not giving up, but understanding there are things beyond reach and accepting it. So the heart doesn't break further. living true to oneself, lighter, fake strength. Sometimes we strain to become someone according to others' expectations. We try to say what they want to hear, try to live as if we aren't allowed to be sad, aren't allowed to be weak. But the more we strain, the further we drift from ourselves. A person living true to themselves, though not perfect, is still much more lovable than a person always trying to appear strong. A sincere smile, a real tear always touches others more than a hard shell. There are relationships not needing forced holding. For one wanting to stay, just a bit of silence is enough to understand. For one wanting to leave, even if we cry all tears, they won't turn back. Knowing this, our heart softens. No blame, no anger, no waiting. Not everything needs explanation. There are things needing no justification. One who trusts needs no much talk. One who doesn't trust, even if speaking until mouth is tired, they won't understand. The more trying to explain only makes the heart more confused. Better be silent and peaceful than words back and forth only to make everyone tired. There are dreams also not needing forced clinging, because the timing is different. Human hearts have changed. Life's road inherently doesn't have only one path. When young, we think we must achieve something to be recognized, but when mature, we understand, sometimes only when letting down, we truly find ourselves. Relaxing art of stepping slowly. Relaxing is knowing to step slow, step back a bit to see clearer, is needing no competition with life, is daring to live a life not brilliant, but deep and peaceful. We don't need too many people clapping, just need a few sincere people. Don't need everything perfect, just need the mind not craving excessively. When knowing to relax, we will realize many things not asked for become successful, many people not kept stay, many dreams not chased arrive at the right time. The beauty of life lies not in perfection, but in serenely accepting incomplete things, the power of letting go lightly. People often think strength is having to rise up, to fight, to regain what was lost. But there is another kind of strength, quiet and profound, that is the strength of letting go lightly. Letting go lightly is not giving up, but stopping struggling with reality. It is ceasing to strain before what has happened. It is not asking forever why this happened to me, but instead quietly looking, accepting, and transforming from within. I remember a female friend losing a very important loved one. Initially, she kept blaming why heaven took away hers. The pain made her sleepless for months. Then one day she said she couldn't change what happened, but she could live better, so that person in a far place still smiled. That was the moment she learned to let go lightly. True strength lies not in how much we control, but in that when everything out there loses control, we still don't lose ourselves. Conclusion: letting go is not to lose, but to gain. Gain peace, gain freedom, gain being oneself. In this life, we cannot avoid failure, hurt, loss. But if knowing to let go, knowing to relax, we will go through upheavals more gently. Light mind, then light life. Mind letting go, then steps leisurely. And when the heart is at peace, regardless of how life out there is, we still have a place to return. That is the peace in the inner self. Art of letting go lightly, living serenely amidst life. One who knows to let go lightly will no longer easily get angry at small things, will no longer blame life for injustice, nor resent this person or that person. They understand that life inherently has favorable times, adverse times, people who love, people who hate, things compatible, and things not compatible. But most importantly, they choose to keep their hearts calm, not letting outside storms disturb the river of peace inside. When we resist no more, we can see ourselves clearly. When we struggle no more, we can sit down and observe what is happening in the mind. When we resist fate no more, we can find the path going deep inside, where understanding, peace, and light of wisdom await. Accepting and transforming in life, there are unavoidable losses, unstoppable changes, and things, even if we don't want it, still happen. If we keep resisting, we will be exhausted. But if we learn to inhale deep, exhale, look straight at the truth, and accept, then adversity is no longer a blow, but becomes an opportunity for us to mature. There was a young mother, when losing her child to a terminal illness, once screamed and cried, once blamed life, once blamed heaven for injustice. But then, after many days of exhaustion, she quietly sat by the child's altar and whispered, "Child, I couldn't keep you, but I will keep your love in my heart to live on." From that day, she changed. The pain didn't disappear, but became motivation for her to live more kindly, more lovingly. Acceptance does not mean no longer hurting, but not letting that pain drag oneself down forever. Letting go lightly, wisdom of softness. Letting go lightly is not weakness. Even less is it giving up. It is a very special form of intelligence, is knowing clearly one's own limits, is understanding when to advance, when to stop, is not wasting effort on old things, not trying to cling to what has departed. One who knows to let go lightly is one who has gone through suffering without carrying resentment, once broken but still keeping a whole heart, once lost but still knowing to cherish the present. They need prove nothing nor justify. Their presence already radiates a peaceful energy, making others want to come near. True strength lies not in hardness, but in softness, capable of embracing everything. Like water, inherently has no fixed shape, but can seep everywhere, nourishing life. Humans, when able to live with that mindset, no circumstance can shake the inner peace. A life without resentment. When the mind no longer resists life, no matter the circumstance, we can still live a life without grievance, without resentment, not sad for long, not suffering forever. Such a life, though not easy, is truly worth living. One day you will realize that you don't need to strain to be strong before all fluctuations anymore. Don't need to force yourself to please anyone. Don't need to keep old things in the heart anymore. That day you let down, not because of tiredness, but because of understanding. One who truly knows to let go doesn't need to speak much, doesn't need to prove, doesn't need to rush. They walk gently like clouds, not because they haven't hurt, but because they have learned to embrace pain without losing themselves, knowing to care about what is worth caring. Letting go does not mean nothing left to bother, but knowing what is truly worth caring about. Not everyone has enough affinity. Not every matter should be hugged. Not every dream needs pursuing. One who knows to let go chooses less to live deeper, chooses simplicity so the heart isn't confused, chooses silence to hear clearly the voice inside. Ultimately, in a human life, happiness lies not in being stronger, more talented, or holding more, but in knowing to let go at the right time. Let go the right way with understanding and gentleness in the mind. Letting go conquers oneself. Letting go is not defeat. Letting go is conquering oneself, is overcoming anger to keep calmness, is overcoming regret to live with the present, is overcoming the ego to love each other more completely. A man once admitted that he often shouted at his wife and children just because of small things, but when seeing his daughter cry and say, "I'm afraid you'll scold," he suddenly understood that he was sowing fear, not love. From that day, he practiced letting go of the hot-tempered ego. Every time wanting to snap, he inhaled deep, then was silent. Just after a few months, his house changed. Wife smiled more, daughter dared to hug him when sleeping. Letting go of anger, he found his family again. When letting go, we gain more. If you're carrying a thought in your heart, holding tight to something yet still not at peace, perhaps it is time to let go. Not let go to lose, but let go to return. Not let go to discard, but let go to live deeper, lighter, more peacefully. Actually, sometimes happiness lies not in what we have more, but in what we know to gently put down. One hand hugging the past forever. What does the other hand have to receive tomorrow? There was a middle-aged woman who kept the image of her deceased husband forever. For 10 years, she dared not smile, dared not be happy, thinking there was loyalty. But when looking at her eldest son yearning for a hug from Mom, she understood letting go is not forgetting the husband, but so the heart has love left for the living. From that day, she practiced smiling, practiced living again, and that very smile healed the whole family. Affinity and letting go. There are people entering our lives gently like a breeze. At first, we think they are peace, but then we understand they are a segment of karma. Not everyone coming stays. Not everyone loving will walk with us a whole life, and not everyone leaving us is betrayal. Sometimes they leave only because affinity has faded, debt has ended, but we don't understand, so we blame, suffer, cling. And from there we accidentally create a new strand of karma, lengthening sufferings inherently already there. One who knows to let go lightly will see this. They no longer blame, no longer resent, but accept affinity coming. Affinity going. What remains is cherished. What is lost is thanked. And thus their hearts open wide, their minds leisurely. Conclusion. Letting go is not forgetting all or discarding all. Letting go is understanding clearly what should be kept, what should be released. Letting go is wisdom, helping us not waste strength on old things, not cling to what doesn't belong to us. Letting go is the art of living, is the greatest victory, conquering one's own ego. One who knows to let go lightly, even if life has ups and downs, still keeps a peaceful mind. Even if losing, still keeps a good heart. Even if separating, still knows to cherish the present. Hope that from today every step you walk, everything you keep, everything you put down comes from a soul that has understood clearly the value of letting go. Because happiness sometimes lies not in keeping more, but in knowing to gently put down. Affinity meets to love, to learn to let go. The Buddha once taught all sentient beings are all relatives of each other. People coming to us in this life, whether friends, lovers, spouses, children, mostly have had deep affinity from before. Sometimes it's gratitude, sometimes it's resentment, not. Sometimes it's someone once promised, once loved. Also, sometimes it's someone once abandoned, once harmed. They come not necessarily to continue loving, but often to resolve. People coming is affinity. That affinity can be good affinity to rely on each other to cultivate and learn, but can also be adverse affinity to challenge. If not enough wisdom, we will keep them with craving. If not enough compassion, we will blame them when they change. But if having mindfulness, we will understand every meeting has a term, and knowing to let go at the right time is the final kindness for each other. Letting go is not weakness, but wisdom. There was a woman telling that she dedicated 8 years of youth to love, care, and sacrifice for a man. Yet one day he left without a word of farewell, leaving her falling into despair, resentment, loss of faith, until attending a retreat, hearing teachings about affinity and debt karma, she burst into tears. She understood. He didn't betray me. We just finished paying the debt. Keeping more is contrary to the way. Letting go is saving oneself. People often think letting go is cowardly, but actually, letting go is the peak of wisdom and compassion. Wisdom to see clearly impermanence, to understand everything in the world has a beginning and an end. Compassion not to cling to what has changed, not to blame the one who has left. When we still hold, we suffer. When we resent, we suffer more. But when we smile, join hands to bid farewell to the one who finished their role in our life, we ourselves have taken one more step on the path of enlightenment, loving without clinging, meeting without holding. In the precious King Samadhi treatise, there is a verse, loving without clinging, that is compassion, meeting without holding, that is wisdom, knowing clearly union and separation, yet the heart remains gentle, that is awakening. That is a person walking amidst the world without falling into the world. The more cultivating, the more awake, the more not blaming. People leave not necessarily because they are bad, but because we and they have ended the debt to each other. They come to teach us the lesson of giving up. We stay to learn the lesson of letting go. And both leave to not continue creating more binding karma affinity. There are people coming to make us cry, then disappear. There are people breaking our hearts, but they themselves open for us the journey of cultivation, the journey of returning to rely on the mind. If awake enough, we will thank them. If not, we blame and carry that pain a whole life. Affinity in feelings is not only because of love, but because of pain. Many couples once loved each other very much, overcoming many storms to be together, but then living together for a time, no longer having a common voice, staying because of children, because of responsibility. But love has faded, minds have distanced. Some blame why in the past loved so much, but now cold like strangers. Actually, few understand that is the final segment of a debt. Could be gratitude, could also be resentment, paid then naturally leave. Trying to keep only piles karma upon karma. Buddha calls that emotional karma finity. Coming not necessarily because of love, but because of need to pay. Sometimes it's someone we once betrayed in a past life now returning to remind us a lesson. Sometimes it's someone who once saved us, so this life we must shoulder for them. But when both have finished learning, finished shouldering, that karma ends. Not hate, but enough. Let go not to create more karma. Letting go is not only an art of living, but also cultivation wisdom. Not letting go means still attach. Still attached means still suffering. And suffering gives birth to resentment mind. Resentment again ties more karma. That karma will lead each other forever in the cycle of reincarnation. If today you suffer because someone leaves, please don't blame. That person didn't betray you. They just finished walking a segment of cause and effect road with you. They are a teacher in a disagreeable form, not an enemy. They are a mirror to reflect one's mind. not a destiny binding. In every meeting, there is a hidden meaning of the universe. No one comes to our life accidentally. No one leaves without leaving a trace. That trace being healed or torn depends on how we receive it. For example, in life, a young man once loved passionately but was abandoned by his lover. He suffered losing direction, asking himself why she betrayed me. Only when he learned the doctrine of cause and effect did he understand. She didn't betray me, but only just finished the road of affinity karma. She came to teach me about letting go, for me to be more mature. Realizing that he resented lest his heart gradually lighter, or like a mother loving her child with all her heart, worrying for the child to the point of controlling every small thing. But the child was angry and distant, even furious because feeling suffocated. The mother suffered, blaming the child for being unfilial. After a time of contemplation, she understood she loved but didn't know how to let go. Loving but binding is also a form of creating karma. Since then she learned to step back for the child to be free, and the mother-child sentiment became gentler. Let go to continue walking. Each person has only one heart. Don't let it be filled by things not making us peaceful. Each day has only 24 hours. Don't let too much time pass in resentment and regret. Each road segment can only be walked once. Don't let it be covered with suffering just because we refuse to let go. Letting go is not ceasing to love. Letting go is because of understanding. Understanding that love also lies within the cycle of cause and effect. We cannot keep anyone, nor can we force anyone to leave. We can only join hands, bow in gratitude because of a road segment walked together. Quietly return, take a long breath, step on lighter, more awake, more serene. Conclusion: life is a chain of affinity meetings and then separations. People come to us either to love or to teach us a lesson. People leave not because of betrayal, but because of ending debt. If we still blame, we imprison ourselves in suffering. If we know to let go, we step one more rung on the ladder of enlightenment. May all of us, when standing before separations, have enough wisdom to see clearly impermanence, enough compassion not to blame, and enough awakening to let go lightly, so every meeting is cherished, every separation smiled at in farewell, and in every step we find ourselves more leisurely, more serene because of having learned the art of letting go, the art of unconditional love. Let go to lighten the heart, forgive to calm the mind. There are people entering our lives to teach us to know how to love. There are people leaving to teach us to mature, and there are also people making our hearts break. But precisely from those cracks, light has the opportunity to seep in. Instead of forever asking why they treated us like that, let's try asking, what do I need to learn from that departure? Because if we keep hugging resentment in the heart, not only this whole life is suffering, but also accidentally closing the door of good affinities in the next life. Resentment is a binding rope. Forgiveness is an opening door. When we resent the one who left, we are tying ourselves with one more strand of injustice. But when we know to forgive, we are opening for ourselves a path of liberation. Is letting go forgetting? Someone asked. Letting go then, do we forget? The answer is no. The Buddha never taught us to forget. He only taught to look without sticking, to love without binding, to remember without pain. Letting go is not erasing everything. Letting go is keeping memory like a verse once very beautiful, but no longer clinging. so that after finishing that lesson, we know to live brighter, gentler, deeper. Don't because of one person not staying that forget oneself. Don't because of a finished love affair that locked tight every door of love. Because in this life, there are countless things worth loving. It's just that we haven't realized when eyes are still stuck on one person. People coming, people going are all finity. Don't regret what has passed. Be grateful because they once came at the right time and also laughed at the right time. People coming teach us the lesson of love. People going teach us the lesson of letting go. And both are the most precious affinities he ever had. People coming are affinity. People staying are karma. People going are the ending of a dead song. Life is a big river with quiet sections, with fast-flowing sections. There are people who will accompany. There are people only like a leaf gliding past. Don't forever hold the leaf that has drifted. Return to being a quiet water stream so when another good affinity comes, we still have room to receive. Let go so the heart has room for light. Letting go is to not be entangled anymore in the next life. Letting go is so the heart still has empty space for light to enter. Letting go is for us to truly live a serene life, because we deserve peace, because our minds need to breathe. If today we haven't learned how to let go, then tomorrow, next month, or next life, we will meet that person again in another form, another life, to continue shouldering the unfinished lessons. So let go not because of anyone, but because of oneself. Wounds are not to forget, but to mature. A female friend once confided in me. I used to think that person was everything. When they left, I felt my life collapse. But many years later, looking back, I am grateful to them. Thanks to those breakdowns, I learned how to stand up, know to love myself, know to live more freely. Sometimes only when broken do we know how to heal. Only when having lost do we understand the value of what is remaining. And only when having been abandoned do we learn how not to abandon ourselves. Forgiveness, a gift for oneself. Forgiveness is not forgetting everything. Even less is it agreeing with the hurts others caused. Forgiveness is simply returning peace to one's soul. Imagine our heart like a room. If we keep it full of hatred and blame, that room will be dark and cramped. Only when cleaning up, opening the window, can light flood in. I once witnessed an old lady in the countryside, all her life treated coldly by her son. Yet every time mentioning him, she just smiled gently. He also suffers. He also worries in his way. Why get angry? Soon I will be near earth, far from sky. That very forgiveness helped her have the final years of life gentle, serene, without animosity. Let go to see life as still vast. Many people think letting go is losing. Actually, letting go is gaining freedom, gaining leisure, gaining opening up new possibilities. There was a friend after divorce once closed her heart tight, daring not trust anyone more. But when learning to let go of the past, she opened her heart more, and then one day she met a new life partner, one bringing comfort and sincere love. She laughed. Turns out letting go is to have room for better things to come, living with acceptance. Buddha taught contemplation is a binding rope. Forgiveness is an opening door. When we keep asking why, we only wrap one more rope around ourselves. But when we agree to accept, we begin to untie.